Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new F1 2020 video. Back league racing today around USA, Circuit of the Americas. Currently we're standing P5 in the PSGL championship. We missed 5 rounds because of Formula E, but that's okay. We're trying to fight back in the championship at the moment. We won last race around France, as you might have seen, so that's 16 points. The point gain from winning in this championship is a little bit different to what we're used to. It's a 16 points for winning, 12 points for second and 10 points for third, as you can see right here. So yeah, currently we are 11 points behind Philip Reichneder, who's leading. Barry Burmond did miss 4 races as well, so 1 less than us, with 61 points in P2, Josh Ido in P3, and then us in P4 with 56 points. Of course, trying to bring that back today and get up the standings a bit better. We're also still fighting for the Constructors' Championship, of course. We want to win both. That's the aim today. Currently I'm on my outlap in Q1. We're looking to get through on just one set of softs, so we can save as much soft tires as possible for the race and the coming qualifying sessions as well, of course. So we are really looking to only do 1 lap on this set of tires, and also not use any new tires for the rest of quali as well, as someone sets a fastest lap or new fastest lap. Most people only just went out, of course, or 1.5 minutes ago, and are currently setting their lap. So that yeah, some people might go for 2 laps. I think a very few amount of people, maybe 2 people, will try 3 push laps, as I'm letting Andy through, who is on his in lap. So yeah, Andy might do 3 runs actually, but we're only aiming to do 1. Really the aim to get through this qualifying session on 1 set of tires. So starting my lap now. Max fuel mixture, of course, hot lap enabled, DRS open, heading into turn 1 for the first time today. Braking just before the white line, down to second gear. I go a little bit wide, a little bit of oversteer as well. I didn't really practice qualifying 1, so yeah, this is really my only lap I'm going to do in this qualifying session. So it's going to be a bit weird. Low grip conditions, of course, a lot lower than short qualifying. But anyway, coming through the first sector is 24.0. For qualifying 3, we're aiming for a 23.8 flat, so 2 times faster. But obviously at that oversteer moment in turn 1. And then heading into, I have no idea what turn this is, but a hairpin before the long straight is what I'm gonna call it. Short shifting to forward. I used third gear there to keep the minimum speed up, and now I'm opening up the DRS for the final time this lap. Heading into this next left-hander, braking at the 50 meters board. I'm not sure if it's actually 50 meters, I have no idea. I think it's a lot more than 50 meters, but anyway, 59.8 forward 3 as the middle split. We're aiming for 59.500 in qualifying 3. Going into the last sector now. This is all easy flat, as Joe is right there on the outside, preparing his lap. Going into this fast left turn, you can see it wasn't very smooth, just didn't really get it together. Into the final corner, short shift to forward, and then coming across the line is a 28.790, which is enough to go into Q2 surely. It's fastest for now, but we're gonna drop back a little bit eventually by people that are still on laps. So yeah, as you can see right here, we finished eventually P3. Barry only did 1 lap as well. Most of the top people did only 1 lap, apart from Ken Akinci, if I said it right. He did 2 laps. Shock of the session, championship leader Philip Reichneder out in Q1. So that's very interesting, of course. Now we go into qualifying 2. You can see we're currently P10. I did a very slow lap on the softs because my goal was to get into Q3 on the mediums. Obviously I wasn't really expecting to make it, but I really want to start on the harder compound around the Circuit of the Americas. So I'm going to start my lap on the mediums here. You see I have a 31.7. We're looking to get a mid 29 on the mediums. Heading into turn 1 for the first time. I didn't practice on those mediums as well, so it's going to be very weird. Turn 1 pretty clean through there. And you can see the delta going up because, well, that soft run was pretty much nothing. Wasn't really an important lap. Just try to get a somewhat of a decent delta so I could aim for something in my lap. Going through sector 1, we're 600s up on Fabricio Donoso. And yeah, Fabrizio currently on P8 on those mediums, so he's looking to get into Q3 at the moment. But yeah, if you can get into Q3 on those mediums, then you can start maybe on the front row on mediums, which would be mega. Because see, coming through there, I get so much wheel spin, and that costed me a lot of time. And might even cost us a Q3 spot, so really not ideal, to be honest. Going into the neck left and the braking of the 50 board down to third gear, again a little bit wide, not ideal. 2.4 seconds up currently at the moment. This seemed very nice through here. No wheel spin, a little bit of oversteer there, but nothing major. Down to second gear for this one, and then short shifted to third to minimize that wheel spin on the medium, as they obviously have a lot less grip. I think the delta is 1.4 seconds to the softs. So coming into the second last corner now, down to fifth gear. Really don't want to invalidate as well, of course. So yeah, bit of margin to keep there. Don't really knew what to expect from these mediums. Coming across the line, we have come behind Fabrizio by I think 100 at maximum. So really not ideal, especially if Fabrizio managed to get through in the mediums and we don't. You can see 1.500, which we would have basically made up with that non or wheel spin in the coming onto the long straight, because that cost me probably a tenth. So very non-ideal that I did that, as Nicolas Matteo is trying to get P11, I think. So we're P10, so we're on the brink. If someone improves now, we are screwed pretty much, because then we're gonna drop out, and I think Nicolas Matteo is gonna go into Q3, if I remember correctly. He's pushing on, he's trying to get P11, but we are trying to get into Q3. So coming across the line, he is gonna improve and go P9 and drop us out of the top 10. So we are not going into Q3. Obviously not ideal, but well, it is what it is. We've got to push on. Fabrizio really in a prime position to win this race now, because he's on the mediums. So yeah, he can start on the harder compounds and maybe even get pole in Q3. But anyway, let's head into the race now. So yeah, lining up on the grid now on P11. Eventually Alvaro Carlton got pole. Fabrizio only got P7, so he's starting on used mediums in P7. And everyone on the grid behind me basically chose for mediums. I decided to go for hards and do something else than the rest. But now it's lights out and away we go. You can see initially we had a very good start on those hards. Didn't expect that. We basically could keep up with Jake Benham, who started on softs. Obviously they're used, but the hards should be so much worse in that first lap. And we managed to stick to P11. Jake goes a little bit wide and gets boxed in by the Alfa Romeo as someone goes off. So we've gained 2 positions on those hards, which is crucial. We really need to get a good start on those hards. You can't drop down the field like a stone. You really need to get it together. And now you just need to try and basically stick with some of the soft runners or Fabrizio Donoso.
Let you know, 2 seconds.
As you can hear me
still leading.
Ask about who went off. It was Nicolas Matteo who went off in the S's in the first lap. As now Fabrizio is defending from Jari in the Alfa Romeo. We are not really gonna fight this because it's just a fact we're slower at this point on those hards. And Jake behind us on soft is gonna be so much faster. Basically at this point the softs are around 1.8 seconds per lap faster. As Jari dives down the inside of Fabrizio, and not gonna fight Fabrizio of course as well. He's on medium, so medium's also around half a second per lap faster at this point. We just try to stick with the people that are faster at this point and take the advantage from them, that they are fresher tired, maybe try to steal some DRS. So first lap done. Jake Benham still behind me on those softs. 55%. As JD gives me info about Fabrizio on his ERS, as Jake has a little look going into turn 1, doesn't make us sick. So we're still P9 after that first lap, and it's going to be tough keeping up with Fabrizio, and Fabrizio is going to try and keep up with Jari of course, but to be honest, if you look at the gap between Jari and Fabrizio at the moment, it's not very likely we're going to keep up with the soft runners, which is unfortunate. I felt like if I had new mediums I probably could have been able to keep up with the soft runners, a lot easier. As you go wide into this hairpin, really not ideal. So yeah, it cost me a little bit of time. I'm gonna use some of my overtake here, but I'm gonna let Jake go here, so that I can stick with him. And I expect him to overtake Fabrizio as well. As you can hear me say, I'm gonna let Jake go, so that I can stick with him and profit from that DRS. You can see Fabrizio also 1 second ahead now, so it's probably better I let Jake go. And then, well, I expect Jake, as I said before, to overtake Fabrizio, which is going to cost them some time, so I can get back into that 1 second if they pull out. I'm still quite some decent ERS levels as well, 60% as you can see. But yeah, in case my teammate Danny Moreno is a lot faster and has a lot more ERS, then I'm going to let him go.
What is your ERS
Surely.
like, Danny?
80.
Okay, Denosa has no ERS, so should I try and overtake him maybe?
You? Or me?
I think both of you can get past him.
I have full battery now, yeah.
Okay,
He's under 20%.
we switch.
So as you can hear me say there, or hear us say, Danny had a full battery. I'm only on 25% because I really had to push to stay with it with Fabrizio. So did Fabrizio. Fabrizio really pushed, so he's low on ERS. And my teammate Danny Moreno is on full ERS at this point behind me. So there's no point in fighting my teammate at this point. I'm just gonna let him go, so he can get past Fabrizio. I at the moment don't have the pace on those hards to get past Fabrizio, so I'm not gonna use any overtake here. My teammate Danny Moreno is gonna use his overtake to try and get past me, and I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna let him go. Turn the engine mode down.
21% rear left tire.
As you can hear JD say, 21% tire wear for Nicolas Longate, sorry. Fabrizio is still trying to get in the DRS of the Alpha Tauri of Jake ahead. Jake pulled out of that 1 second quite easily, so shows how fast the softs are around here. But now I'm just going to try and regenerate some of the DRS that I've used to stick with Fabrizio, so I can attack later on when my hards start to improve. Nicolas Longate behind us.
Surely Longway got a warning for that, right?
No.
Went a little bit wide. Lucky for him, he didn't get a warning for it.
Fantastic.
So yeah, Longway now still 4 tenths behind. On mediums as well, as I said, everyone behind me is on mediums. Probably the better tire looking back at this race. We really have to push hard to stay within everyone's DRS, and I kind of expected the hards to get faster, quicker compared to the mediums, but at this point you can see everyone in the mediums is still a lot faster, so not ideal, but just gonna keep pushing so that we can maybe do something at the very end of this stint.
18%.
As going into the hairpin again, I go wide, so Longway now right with me. I'm gonna use some of my overtake to try and defend from Nicolas. As Longway really tried to go for a move there. Fabrizio goes defensive,
55.
which I was a bit confused at. I mean, he didn't really need to defend. Yeah, as you can hear Danny say there as well. Didn't really know why Denosa was defending. He had more than enough of a gap to stay ahead. As I'm trying to desperately hold off Longway at this point, because the mediums, as I said before, are a lot quicker. So yeah, just gonna try and stay ahead to keep that track position and stick with my teammate, who's on the mediums as well, of course. But then as we go into the final corner, you can see Longway 2.8 tenths behind, 3.8 tenths behind. I'm not going to use any overtake on the straight. Longway decides to use the overtake as Josh, or some of the leaders actually, went into the pits for the hard compound. So a lot of different strategies available around USA, like Josh going for soft to hards, but soft to mediums is more than doable as well. So yeah, Longway got passed back into our starting position basically, P11, even though some of the leaders pitted. So net loss at the moment of I think 1 position, maybe even 2, not sure.
Denosa 20%, Longay 50%.
Yeah, now moving on to lap 12. Really close behind Fabrizio Denoso, Nicolas Longway and Danny Moreno pulled out of his DRS.
Longay is using everything all the time. Trying to save a bit.
15% on exit.
Yeah, but Denozo is just driving at this point to hold me up.
Yeah. He's got a tyre wear indicator as well.
Got him.
Denozo really struggling on those used mediums. At the time I thought he only went for one push lap in quali, but he did went for 2 push laps on those mediums, so that's why he's struggling so much at the moment and losing so much time to other medium runners. But this is basically the time where mediums and hards are kinda on the crossover, but you can see I'm 2.3 seconds behind Nicolas Longway, so not looking very good, because if I want to gain that 2.3 seconds back, the mediums really need to drop off, which they usually don't really do. So yeah, not looking very good for us at the moment, but we're just gonna keep on pushing and try to get that gap closed.
Race.
They're gonna be 13% or 30 seconds ahead.
And now moving on to end of lap 17, you see both Nicolas Longway and Danny Moreno coming into the pits. Longway got a penalty as well, as you can see, 3 seconds.
Louis, by any chance?
It's hard, the delta is just from to each car. It's hard to see.
Yeah, at the moment I'm the only car that has not made a pit stop yet. You can see Alvaro Carreton, who started on pole and went to the mediums, is currently P2, only 4 seconds behind me, so he's almost made up a pit stop. But I'm gonna continue until the end of lap 19 before I pit, and then go into the softs. Honestly, looking back, I probably should have done a different strategy, because Alvaro Carreton only 4 seconds behind at this point, so he has made up a pit stop distance basically. So it's going to be very hard pulling that back, but anyway, we just have to keep pushing and see what we can do the rest of the race, and maybe get a podium, which might be a little bit of a stretch at this point with 10 laps to go, and I will probably have to make up around 20 seconds. But anyway, we're still going to try, of course, and get the maximum out of this in the rest of the race. Now we move on to the end of lap 19. You can see Alvaro Carreton only 2.2 seconds behind, which means he's basically made up a whole pit stop time-wise. So might have been able to, or other people might have been able to do a 2-stop actually. But anyway, we're gonna come into the pits now, fit on a new set of softs. We have got 9 laps remaining, so gonna be a very tough battle. I think we're gonna come out pretty much last. As I said before, end of lap 17, everyone made their pit stop. We were the only car left on track. So now coming out in P14, side by side with Fabrizio Denozo into turn 1. We've got new mediums, of course. He got 2-3 lap older softs. Sorry, I didn't say that correct, I think so. But anyway, we've got new softs. He got 2-3 lap old softs. And now we're gonna hand down Julian ahead in the Red Bull. And the DRS detection zone is coming up, so I really have to push in this S section so I can just about get his DRS. You can see I used a little bit of overtake there, and now I'm just gonna get that DRS coming out of this hairpin.
Louis and Long are fighting really hard.
So as you can hear Danny say there, Louis Welch and Longway are fighting really hard, which is perfect for me, because they made a huge undercut, so they're gonna drop off in the end, and that's free time for me basically. So we now head into this left-hander, P14 still, but we're looking to change it real quick, as the area ahead on the hards is struggling a lot, of course. We're gonna go around the outside. We've got so much more grip at this point, so around the outside in this long left-hander up to P13, and now we're gonna keep pushing.
Leader, you're about 10 seconds, Danny.
So yeah, as you can hear JD say there, he's behind, 10 seconds behind the leader. And we are probably around 5 to 6 seconds behind our teammate Danny Moreno, who made the pit stop 2 laps earlier. Okay, now gonna use my overtake going into turn 1, and we're just gonna go down the inside of Julian, who is not gonna fight too hard and just covers the position basically. Julian a lot older hards than us.
Is on 10%, right behind Barry. So
oh my god, it's Joe ahead of us now. Who is not going to get DRS, so we can get him on the main straight, or not the main straight, the back straight, the long back straight. Going through here, we're going to get the DRS detection zone coming up in a second, which is right here, as you saw that white line, that's the DRS detection zone. We're going to get a lot better exit because of the tires, of course. Not going to use too much ERS or overtake, I don't think I'm going to use any. Just going to let the DRS do its work and then we can save that battery in case we need it. And then next up is Jake Benham, who we started next to basically. He started on softs and now he's on the hards. We're gonna get a big grip advantage, of course. So Jake also has a 3 seconds. Don't expect him to battle really hard, I think so, as he's just trying to get points probably at this point in some lucky way. He's currently in P10, so that's the final point position. So he needs to get very lucky if he wants to get some points. But anyway, that's no worry for us. We're gonna keep on pushing, coming across the line. It's gonna be a 1:31.7 going into turn 1, down the inside of Jake. He's not gonna defend. He's just driving his own race at this point. And now next up is Louis Welch on very old softs. I think he pitted at the end of lap 15, so he's really gonna struggle until the end of the race, I would say. We're only doing basically 9 laps on the softs. He's doing 13 to 14 laps on the soft. That's gonna be a real struggle for him. We're gonna try and get into that DRS detection zone again. Tire is probably overheating a little bit. You can see I'm being very smooth with the wheel to try and keep those temps down. You can see 104 on the rear right, so just overheated. But anyway, we're gonna get DRS once again. Louis is not gonna get DRS. Not gonna use any overtake.
Awesome job. You can do it.
I went purple again through sector 1. So that's good. We really needed 1 point of the fast lap, so would be perfect if no one pits for a new set of softs in the last lap, so we can keep that extra point. 4 tenths up currently on my fast lap, as I'm now behind Louis, who's in the older softs. So just gonna try and stay behind now and then overtake him on the ideal moment. So we might even improve the fast lap again, but I don't think so, because we're stuck in dirty air at the moment behind Louis. Louis, the only pet driver on the grid. You can see I'm really close now going into the final corner, almost hitting him, almost pushing him around there. Now he's gonna get DRS as well. Not gonna fight too hard. You can see 1:31.7 again.
High 33s.
As you can hear JD say there, leaders are doing high 33s to low 34s. So we are over 2 seconds per lap faster at this point, which we really need, because as I said, we need to make up a pit stop distance pretty much in this stint, as we're catching up to Ken Akinci at this point. Gonna try and overtake him on the back straight, on the long back straight. Don't want to go down the inside here, as I want to get a good exit and profit from his slipstream. So not gonna send it. Just gonna prepare the exit very nicely. Not use too much overtake. I think he's gonna use some of our overtake as well, so I eventually had to, because I want to go down the inside in the next left-hander. So just trying to profit from the slipstream as much as I can, and then brake slightly later on those newer softs, and up to P8. So we've made up 6 positions already, and now behind Dario Lemulo on the mediums as well. Gonna try and overtake him as fast as possible. We really don't want to sit behind him, because he's on old mediums, and down the inside we go up to P7. Basically 2 cars in 3 corners. So very good lap so far. And now next up is VSR Andy on old mediums as well. 3-second penalty, as I get my first warning of the race.
Carrots on 33.7.
And the question is, where do I try and overtake Andy? Do I do it in turn 1? 32.1, so a little bit of a slower lap, but I have to overtake people, of course, as well. Going into turn 1, down the inside of Andy.
Both under 10%, so.
Both.
Saw Barry's light flashing just briefly.
And now next up is Nicolas Longway, who went into the pits 2 laps earlier than me. So he will be slightly worse on tire wear, of course, but still I have to make up the 2 seconds, of course, or at least 8 tenths before I get DRS. So we're not going to get DRS this lap. As you can see, Longway still 3 seconds of penalties, and our teammate Danny Moreno as well. Top 3, no one has a penalty, so it's going to be tough getting that podium, but we just have to keep pushing as hard as we can and hope for the best.
Yep, Longway's still under 10%. 1 warning away from 6.
I can see your lights flashing.
Yep.
What do you have?
25%.
I'll move on to lap 26, so only 3 laps to go. We can see we've got Josh Igowu in our side, and Nicolas Longway, you can see his rear light starts flashing. We have got no ERS as well, so luckily we got DRS, so we can go down the inside on this long back straight. He's not going to fight it too hard, so we can take our ideal racing line going into this left-hander. Now we're basically fighting for podium position. Our teammate Danny Moreno fighting for the win on track at the moment, but he has the 3-second time point, of course. He's currently P2 on quite fresh soft still, of course. But we really have to focus on Josh to try and get a podium position.
30% at the moment.
At the moment we still have the fast lap. You can see I went green again in the first and second sector, but our tires are degrading as well, of course. They are basically 7 laps old, 6 to 7 laps old at this point. Coming across the line, it's going to be 32.1. Leader still doing high 33, so we're still gaining almost 2 seconds per lap. Going into turn 1, luckily we got DRS from Josh, and Josh got DRS as well, of course, but we really have to get past Josh if we want to get Barry as well, maybe even fight for the win. So we've almost made up a pit stop distance in the space of 9 laps, which makes sense because we were gaining 2 seconds a lap at some point, maybe even a little bit more. But now we've got Josh ahead. You can see his rear lights is flashing, which means he's under 10% battery, and we have the same, so not really an advantage there, but we have so much more grip at this point. So better traction everywhere. We're gonna get DRS.
Still do it last lap, Danny. They'll start battling.
As my teammate Danny Moreno got into P1 with the 3-second penalty into the next left-hander. Josh basically fell for a fake move, and now he's got a lot less minimum speed and a lot worse exit, and then we've got so much more grip. We go around the outside and we cover off the next left-hander, and up to P4 we go with the fastest lap still. No one has made a pit stop, so we're most likely gonna keep that fast lap. And now next up is Barry Berman, 9/10s ahead. It's gonna be tough because we have no ERS remaining as well, and our tires are dropping off quite aggressively in that last lap. So yeah, not very likely that we're gonna get Barry, but we're gonna keep pushing, of course. Keep using all of our ERS, keep using all of our tires, and push as hard as I can with what the tires give me. Our teammate Danny Moreno 1 second out of Albert Carlton, so he needs to gain 2 seconds.
No.
Okay.
In that last lap to get the win. But of course we want to get a podium as well, so only way we're gonna get a podium is if we stay within that 3 seconds of Danny Moreno, or we have to overtake Barry Berman, but it's not looking very likely. You can see we're half a second behind. My rears are going off. You can see backhand stepping out through that left-hander, and now we're gonna get DRS for the final time this race. We're gonna use all of our ERS possible on this next straight. Barry probably gonna get DRS as well, and that's a huge advantage for Barry because Alvaro doesn't have DRS, and his medium are dropping off slightly more aggressive than Barry, his hards. So going into the next left hand, you can see Barry probably not close enough to make a move in this last sector. We have the tire advantage in this last sector, of course. Really technical, so really need a rubber. We're gonna take a look in this next left hand. The Barry covers it off, so we go to the outside, trying to have a look on the outside here, but I get a big snap of oversteer, rears dropping off, and we're not gonna make it unless Barry makes a mistake in the next 2 corners. You see rear lights flashing for Barry as well, which means he has no ERS remaining. Going into the final corner, we have a little look. Barry goes defensive, but nothing we can do. And coming across the line, it's P3 for us.
GG, good effort.
By 300ths of a second, we got a podium. So in my opinion, very good race. I think it was very exciting to watch as well. Unfortunately, didn't win. I think I really made a mistake by starting on hards. Unfortunately, we can't really look into the future, but I think should have tested it a little bit more. Also missing out on Q3 by 100 by that mistake. Stupid mistake, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Can't always win in racing. I think I won last week, of course, in PSGL, but I didn't do PSGL in a long time. I think I won around 7 league races in a row at some point, 7 or 8. So can't always win, but we got another podium. Barry Berman takes the championship lead, as Philip Riccione didn't get any points. So we close in on the championship lead, as Philip was quite far ahead, of course. So yeah, we lost points to Barry, but we gained on P1 basically. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the race. As you might have heard, I have a new microphone, so might sound a lot better. I hope it sounds a lot better at least. Still looking to get better settings, so sorry if it didn't sound optimal. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And see you guys next time. Ciao.